Welcome to the OTech Talks podcast, where it's all about working on technologies. You will hear the latest tech information, and your host, Kashif Manzoor, brings together product overviews, how-tos, best practices, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting techniques.
OTech Talks podcast. This is your weekly sandbox for learning and sharing. Your host, Kashif Manzoor, is with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on your time zone, wherever you are. If you're driving, have a safe drive. If you're doing a workout, that's the way we need to keep ourselves healthy. And if you're walking, that's very wonderful. That's wonderful to see the nature. Thank you so much for being with me and joining the session. If you're new to the show, today is our session number 96. And if you're existing audience, I'm very, very thankful for you, for your support and your being with me. You know, I don't have words to say it, frankly. I'm very obliged and grateful for your feedback, which you keep sharing with me. And almost we are close to 40,000 of our episodes, 40,000 downloads all time. It's not this year, all time. And we will continue our session in the session number 95. So this is the second session of CIS Critical Security Controls, which we had just first session to understand the basics. And then today our focus is to go in more detail. So if you're new to this episode, the Center for Internet Security, they publishes the CIS Critical Security Controls, basically to help organizations defend against known attacks by putting some common controls which are understood and which are considered by industry experts. And these security challenges evolve, and that's why these best practices also need to be evolving, and they need to be keep updating it. And there are so many standards which we understand, but the CIS benchmarks, they acknowledges and the reality of most organizations faces in while implementing it. That's why these benchmarks are available in a three implementation groups: IG1, IG2, and IG3, which we discussed in our previous session. Today, what we are going to do, we are going to go in more detail that what are these 18 controls which are part of the CIS Controls 8, and all the information which I am presenting today, these are from the standard or on the standard CISsecurity.org website and publicly published information. There's no as such, it's just a disclaimer to let everyone know. And for a guide point of view, you can register and you can download it. There is a CIS Controls version 8 guidelines from Center of Internet Security. And this guidelines is the way it's organized is the 18 controls are presented in the control name, for example, inventory and control of enterprise assets. Why is this critical? Why is this control critical? So they explain you, then procedures and tools, how to implement it, and then safeguards. So that's how. So they give you overview. For example, inventory and control of enterprise assets. So you need to enterprise cannot defend what they do not know they have. Actually manage inventory, track, correct all enterprise assets, end user devices, including portable, mobile, network devices, IoT devices, connected to the virtual infrastructure physically, virtually, remotely, and those within control within cloud environments. So that's the general overview. So why is this control critical? So it explains you why this is very important. And then what are the procedures available? For example, CIS controls require both technical and procedural action. Maintaining the current one, single sign-on, Active Directory, multi-factor authentication, VPNs, intrusion detection systems, IDS, then deep pocket inspection, DPA, and mobile device management. So all these are the tools available. And then what are the safeguards available? For example, there are 5 safeguards available. So even they are, from a security function point of view, they are categorized into identify, respond, detect, establish and maintain detailed enterprise assets inventory, address unauthorized assets, utilize an active discovery tool, use dynamic host configuration protocols, logging to update enterprise asset inventory, use a passive asset discovery tool. So all these tools are like safeguards are available as part of the each controls. So that's the way it stands from a CIS controls point of view. So that's why we are doing this session 2, and we will go through inventory and control. For example, inventory and control of enterprise assets. We just discussed it one, the CIS control 2, which is inventory and control of software assets. So it's like you need to actively manage inventory, track, and correct all software operating systems and applications on the network so that only authorized software is installed and can execute, and the unauthorized and unmanaged software is found and prevented from installation or execution. It has 7 safeguards. Then CIS Control 3, it's a data protection. You have to develop processes and technical controls to identify, classify, securely handle, retain, and dispose of data. It has 14 safeguards, the control number 3, data protection. Then that's CIS Control 4, secure configuration of enterprise assets and software. When I say you, mean it's an organization. Either you're working in an organization, or you're as an individual, you're doing your business. So you need to establish and maintain the secure configuration of enterprise assets, end user devices, including portables and mobile, network devices, non-computing IoT devices and servers, and software, operating system, and applications. So that's a secure configuration of enterprise assets and software. It has 12 safeguards. Our 5 control is account management. You need to use processes and tools to assign and manage authorization to credentials for user accounts, including administrator accounts, as well as service accounts to enterprise assets and software. It has 6 safeguards. CIS Control 6, access control management, use processes and tools to create, design, and manage and revoke access credentials and privileges for user, administrator, and service accounts for enterprise assets and software. It has 8 safeguards, and frankly, you just need to download the guide, and it has all these safeguards written in a very detail. Then CIS Control 7, which is continuous vulnerability management. Develop a plan to continuously assess and track vulnerabilities on all enterprise assets within the enterprise infrastructure, so that you can minimize and you can give a less opportunity to attackers. You can monitor public and private industry sources with the new threat and all the vulnerability informations. It has 7 safeguards. CIS Control 8, audit log management. You need to have a process in place where you can collect, alert, review, and retain audit logs of events that could help detect, understand, and recover from an attack. It has 12 safeguards. CIS Control 9, which is email and web browser protections. You need to improve protections and detections of threats from email and web vectors, as these are opportunities for attackers to manipulate human behavior through direct engagement. It has 7 safeguards. Then there is CIS Control 8, malware defenses. You need to prevent or control the installation, spread, and execution of malicious applications, code, or scripts on enterprise assets. It has 7 safeguards. CIS Control 11, which is data recovery. You need to establish and maintain data recovery practices sufficient to restore in-scope enterprise assets, to a pre-incident and trusted state. It has five safeguards. And then CIS Control 12, which is network infrastructure management. You need to establish, implement, and actively manage, or when we say management, track, report, correct network devices in order to prevent attackers from exploiting vulnerable network services and access points. It has eight safeguards. CIS Control 13, which is network monitoring and defense. You need to have a operating processes, and tooling, the tools to establish and maintain comprehensive network monitoring and defense against security threats across the enterprise network infrastructure and user base, which is having 11 safeguards, network monitoring and defense. Then we have CIS Control 14, which is security awareness and skills training. This is one of the more important. I like it, that you need to even train the end user, right? Your employees. So you need to establish and maintain a security awareness program to influence behavior among the workforce to be security conscious and properly skilled to reduce cybersecurity risks to the enterprise. It has 9 safeguards. Then CIS Control 15, it's a service provider management. You need to develop a process to evaluate service providers who hold sensitive data or responsible for enterprise critical IT applications or platforms or processes. So you need to have these in place so that you can monitor them. It has 7 safeguards. Then we are CIS Control 16, so almost we are having total 18, so we are reaching to 16. Application software security. You need to manage the security lifecycle of in-house developed, hosted, or acquired software to prevent, detect, and remediate security weaknesses before they can impact the enterprise. It has 14 safeguards. CIS Control 17, which is incident response and management. You need to establish a program to develop and maintain an incident response capability, policies, plans, procedures, define logs, training, and communications to prepare, detect, and quickly respond to an attack. It has 9 safeguards. And the last one, which is CIS Control 18, penetration testing. Test the effectiveness and resiliency of enterprise assets through identifying and exploiting weaknesses in controls. When we say controls, mean people, processes, and technology, and simulating the objectives and actions of an attacker. And it has 5 safeguards. Now you can understand that these are the 18 safeguards which are available for each and every organization. So when you will download these this guide, you will know all these controls and their safeguards. For example, I thought to share with you the security awareness and skills training. In this one, there are we said there are safeguards, right? 9 safeguards. So what are those 9 safeguards? They are, for example, establish and maintain security awareness program, train workforce members to recognize social engineering attacks, train workforce members on authentication best practices, train workforce on data handling best practices, train workforce members on causes of unintentional data exposure, train workforce members on recognizing and reporting security incidents, train workforce on how to identify and report if their enterprise assets are missing security updates, train workforce on dangers of connecting to and transmitting enterprise data over insecure networks, conduct role-specific security awareness and skills training. If you see, these are all controls, safeguards placed in all these 18 controls. And these, if you will get and you will be aware about these one, then the life and even the security in different organizations is different. So that's why I thought to share with you the CIS Controls version 8, and I allow it. Frankly, the way these are basics in each and every organization is using it. And sometime I heard from my friends that we cannot do so many things on our company provided laptops, or maybe there's no USB attached option available, or there's a lot of you cannot install software packages. So if as a common individual, you can imagine that why it is very important for all the IT infrastructure teams that they are putting and ensuring all these controls are in place, because there are actors, there are individuals available in the dark web who are trying to breach and who are trying to attack and get benefits out of weak security posture which you have and any organization is having. So with this, thank you so much. This was the second session, part of our CIS Controls, and I would suggest you to listen together. And with this, we are done with today's session on our topic of CIS Security Controls. And have a wonderful day and wonderful life. Thank you so much. And talk to you in the next session, where we will come back to how we will configure these security controls in the infrastructure. That was my idea. But let's see how it goes, and maybe we will come back to our topic which we started on challenges on migration to cloud infrastructure. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the OTech Talks podcast, and be part of Tech Talks at otechtalks.tv. It's a turf to share ideas, insights, and innovations.